Welcome, my friends. We have 3 different Town Hall 12 3-star attack strategies for you. And hopefully one of these will serve you well and be able to get the 3 stars. So we're going to start out with a pretty famous one. Probably your favorite is a Queen Walk Bowler Witch, featuring 7 healers. What? Whoa! You don't see this much every day. A 7 healers attack. Whoo! Talk about some craziness. So he's actually going to Queen Walk, and then he's going to use some more healers on his witches, okay? Yeah, we're going to be doing Queen Walk and give you a Lalo and a minor hit. So you want to stick around for different strategies, taking down anti-3-star bases. Now, these are kind of hybrid bases, mind you. And he's going to have to pop a Rage here. Of course, the power of doing a Queen Walk is she can get some massive value. It's one of the most popular strategies at Town Hall 12, and you should rock it. Better than Mass Bowler Witch or Mass Miners. Queen Walk's super powerful, right? But those other strategies can work, I guess. Anyways, going to get some good value here. Look at this beautiful Queen Walk. Look what she's getting. Expos, bomb towers. I mean, just so much here giving. And he is going to decide to pop the ability Comfort from Spartans Legacy. I'm Halo Okra. Part of Spartans Legacy, we are part of the Champions War League CWL invite clan. So if you like competitive gaming and want to see some of the best clans in the world, try out Champions War League. So he opts to bring in healers for these witches. Interesting, at 3 o'clock. Surprising, I guess here you maybe didn't quite need it. Not tons of splash damage on the outside here, but he just felt, I guess, needed those extra healers. Maybe it could have cost him in the end. They did actually end up going into the middle, but maybe, not having as many bowlers or many witches to bring along, but in the end it didn't hurt him, right? 7 healers is a lot. That's it's a lot. But Mr. Comfort coming in with a nice Queen Walk Bowler Witch. Now, of course, on this, the big thing for this, you don't bring wall breakers. You use the ram, the wall wrecker, but it's the ram. Look at that ram's head right there. You bring the ram, it opens up everything for your bowlers and witches. Somehow they pathed over here. So the ram went towards the town hall, and the rest of his troops went towards 6. But thankfully, he had a rage spell and a jump spell right at the end here to kind of finish off this section, right? So nice little hit. I think really the key here is the Queen Walk. Got massive value at the very beginning, if you notice. Bomb Tower Expo created good funneling as well. So if you can find those sort of good Queen Walks on bases, take advantage of it for sure. Here at the end, King, Queen, Warden is still up. Look at this. Queen barely holding on. She stepped out of range of the multi. Somehow she's still alive. We don't even know how. Wow, that's craziness. Only 2 witches up, but enough just barely. Town Hall 12 3 stars are pretty tough, guys. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's a tough business. This was, look at all those max walls out there. This guy spent a lot of time farming or gymming. Who knows what. Either one doesn't matter, because that's how you 3-star one of those Town Hall 12 bases. Queen Walk Bowler Witch, pretty standard. Pick a good side. I mean, you got to pick a good side where to Queen Walk and then push into the base. Now, notice he went opposite side of the Town Hall. He used the ram to get to the Town Hall, and he had that jump spell, right? So you don't always have to push into the Town Hall right away on that sort of strategy, okay? Just be aware. So we got a P.E.K.K.A. Miner here is our next attack, and the reason why people are bringing P.E.K.K.A.s, they are good for creating funnel, and they're pretty good tanking. So we're going to see him use those P.E.K.K.A.s to that, and then we're going to have the miners kind of go right up the core. So P.E.K.K.A. here with a wizard behind. Notice it can handle this, guys. It can take down these defenses, helping with the funnel. Look, it's taking on 2 archer towers with a wizard behind, really helping out. And then so doing some good work here. The P.E.K.K.A. is kind of acting like a king, right? King could have done that funnel, but he wanted the king to go straight into the town hall, because he knew he needed some help, right? Town hall is pretty tough to get to. He needed the help, so he's going to use King, Queen, and Warden to get down that town hall. Now, it's pretty bold push, but worth it, right? Able to get the CC and the town hall down, and probably with the Queen ability should be able to get some of these other defenses, probably the Inferno, maybe if he gets lucky, the Expo, but it's okay. So How does he create the funnel for his miners so the miners don't go out? Well, he uses another P.E.K.K.A. here at 12 o'clock, right? P.E.K.K.A. and wizards behind. That means they'll take down these outside structures. So the miners will stay inside. So they'll immediately path towards the Eagle Artillery eventually. They won't wander off here on the outside and then maybe loop around the Eagle Artillery. They should go right towards it because he has the P.E.K.K.A., right? P.E.K.K.A. just moves along very nicely, much better in Giants in that situation. Look, even the miners are still trying to push outside. Just look at that, guys. The miners are still trying to push to the outside. That's how just kind of random their AI is. But eventually they push back in slowly but surely. P.E.K.K.A. and wizards doing some work. Miners going into the Eagle Artillery. Lots of heal spells all around. He's got one more heal spell. Of course, a very tough section at 6 o'clock. P.E.K.K.A. finally dies out, but a lot of miners up. Now, this is when it's a little bit difficult. Sometimes you make the mistake. So sometimes miners, you think there's more miners there than there really are. So you put a heal spell down and you realize, oh, crappity-doo. All my miners weren't there. So it can be a little hard to track these suckers. Notice, look how they just go on the outside. Luckily, this is an army camp, so they will go back inside to the double cannon. But say if this was like moved over one more space, he would have had a split there. They just love to separate. They're kind of like dragons. They're really hard to predict. And you really don't want them on the outside edge, right? You really don't want it at all because you get lots of hits on him. Luckily, he just has enough miners in the end. No spells left either. But he's able to get this down. Even though there's Expo, double cannons here, mortar. He's got spring traps. So pretty coming down to the wire. And yeah. I don't know. Miners are interesting. They're interesting creatures because they're really unpredictable in my mind. Like sometimes they dominate and sometimes they don't. But they're really powerful at Town Hall 12. I think they're most powerful at Town Hall 12. Just because the Giga Tesla, the Giga Bomb doesn't affect them as well as the Tornado Trap. So those are really two big defenses that really can mess up raids very quickly. Okay, so let's finish up here on Mr. Malte. And he is going to be coming in with a Queen Walk La Low. So I told you, 3 different strategies for you. And, people say, well how do you 3-star Halo? Again, these are just concepts. Like you're never gonna face, unless they're running like an internet base or a popular base, you're not gonna see their base probably ever. It's gonna be a new base to you. So you got to take principles of how to queen walk, how to where to enter, the things I've talked about for years. I mean, I could say it over and over, but that's the lay of the land. You're just gonna have to practice that, right? And then slowly and surely, you'll start to 3-star here a bit. So he's bringing in these loons. He does not want the queen to walk this way, right? So he's going to bring in the loons here. Look at this. Loons, make sure the queen will go inside towards the town hall. She won't walk around. He had a wizard there as well. That's why they do it. That's something you can predict beforehand. You can really predict the queen walking path. I've talked about it before. It just takes a little skill and a little practice. Honestly, it's just a little practice doing some FCs and figuring out how the queen moves and rotates, okay? So she locks on to anything, a 7-tile space. She's gonna, that's where her kind of the end of the road is, right? So if there's a 7-tile difference, she'll either hit a wall or go somewhere else. That's usually when she hits a wall, when there's a 7-tile difference. No, is it 8? Now I'm confusing myself. I think it is 7 though. Either way, he doing some nice work with the queen, pushing her inside the base, getting huge access, huge gains here. Gonna hop the jump. Now, why a jump spell here instead of wall breakers? Well, wall breakers would have been too tough. I mean, look, you would have had to freeze the Inferno to break this, and then you had to freeze the Inferno again to break this wall right here. It's just too complicated. So either you decide you're going to stop the queen here and let her bang through the wall, Or is it valuable to bring the jump? And things to consider about bringing a jump spell. One, what is her value? Well, on this jump, she's going to get Inferno Tower. She's going to get an Eagle Artillery. She's going to get access to the Queen. And if she stays alive, because she does have an ability, this, Expo, it depends on where she passed. But that is huge value. Gets access to the Queen, Inferno, and Eagle Artillery. Those three alone, totally worth the jump spell. It's worth the spell because you got to consider, can Loons get that amount of stuff down with a Rage? That's right, or 2 hastes. And that's what you have to consider. So, has to pop ability. There goes the ability on the enemy Queen. Then it comes back to the multi, and then now the Eagle Artillery. As I said, Eagle Artillery is down. And she should be able to stay alive. Now that he's bringing in the La Low portion, she should be able to stay alive. Even though there's 2 Expos on her, it's going to be a little bit close, but the Loon should get to the Expo. She should stay alive. Eventually, probably going to path, well, we'll see where she goes. Back in the middle towards the sweeper. Here comes the La Low section coming in at the 9 o'clock side. Now, he might have come in at 9 for 2 reasons. One, to try to keep the Queen alive, right? Keep her up and running. That could have been one reason, 2 Expos. Or another reason is the Town Hall was at, 12 o'clock, so he did want the blimp to kind of reach this Inferno Tower, right? This Inferno Tower was hard to get to, and he needed, his Loons right away on top of that Inferno Tower. How can you do that? Well, you can ensure by doing that by bringing a blimp. So the blimp's going to go right across to the Inferno and take it down. So that's another reason why he came in at 9, right? Sure, he could have done that at the beginning. He could have come in maybe at 1, popped an early Warden. But honestly, I like his decision making here. I think it was the better entry point. Looking at it, Loons go directly to the multi. No problem at all. Look at that. Back-end Loons everywhere. He's got 2 back-end Loons for this air defense. Queen is still alive. These 2 Loons should get down this air defense here. Yep, take it down. More Loons. He's got his cleanup down. Notice he put his cleanup. Queen's still alive. She's helping with some cleanup. Now she's pretty much just banging on a wall. But really the whole point of that, the whole force of that attack was the Queen walk, right? And let's actually look at this again. It's 12 minutes. But so how do you get her into here, right? There's a couple ways. I mean, you can obviously use, see the spacing here? You can use that to your advantage. That's going to give you good spacing. That's going to guarantee she probably won't walk this way, right? Especially if you're bringing the Loons here. And then you can know that your King can get down this over here. Even if there's a Tesla here, not going to be the big deal. The King will get it. And honestly, this break is not that hard. This push right here at 12 is really not that hard. She put him in a perfect spot. Could have put a, yeah. I mean, there's really, could have put her maybe a little more towards 12 if she wanted, but you didn't want to put it more towards 12 or 1 because then she'd walk this way. You wanted her to really open up right there. So this is how you do it. I mean, King for funneling here, perfect entry point. This is a pretty standard entry and guaranteeing. Now, she probably would have still walked in if this archer tower wasn't down, but this is just guaranteeing that the Queen goes where you want her to go and not towards that mortar. Make sense? Because when she's on the corner here, that's like 9 tiles away. She's not going to typically go there. It's just too far away. She'll go inside if you break open the wall. Anyways, pretty standard, guys. I don't know. You're going to have to practice it. I've talked a lot about it. I've made other videos if you need it. Anyways, thanks again for watching. There's some strategies for Town Hall 12. Come back for more. Halo out.
Threaten my people with slavery and death. This is madness. Madness. This is Sparta!